So I'm just take a step back a bit and just talk about some of the context in which I guess GA is involved in this particular initiative. Why is location so important? It's just like any other type of information, but it's essential to our decision making. It helps us manage our cities and our environment, drive innovation, help maintain public safety, find our way around, and in the end make us more competitive and economically viable as a nation. Everything happens somewhere. Location is essential to decision making, and it's a fundamental to the success of Australia's future digital economy and society. Don't worry about the parliamentary lunch bit. How does location help us make decisions? We'll talk a bit about the Foundation Spatial Data Framework in this context. As I said, everything happens somewhere. We're all familiar with the blue dot on our phones. It tells us we're somewhere. But by itself, that's actually pretty useful. I need other information around me to help me make that decision. This might be imagery, or more importantly, it might be other contextual information, like roads, place names, points of interest, and other features that actually need to help me make that decision. It's not just me. Governments need that in order to inform policy decision making. Businesses need it in order to work out where they're going to invest. And the community needs it more and more just in their day-to-day lives. The Foundation Spatial Data is that location information which is used widely in those sectors. Things like addressing, administrative boundaries, place names, topography, property and imagery, amongst others. The Foundation Spatial Data Framework is a change program on that information. What it's looking at is how we can improve the quality, the governance and accessibility around that data to really make it hit home and be valuable to that decision making. Why? Because people make decisions that affect people's lives, particularly in public safety. People are trying to make decisions that protect people and infrastructure and the environment. And they also want to smartly invest up to billions of dollars and time for economic development as well. So the particular outcomes here that I'm looking for with Foundation Spatial Data is, as a user, it meets my business needs. I can use it intelligently. I can find what I want quickly and easily. It joins up with the business information that I have, or I want to join it up with other data that I have, and I know where it comes from, so I can trust it. So how does NationalMap fit with the Foundation Spatial Data Framework? Well, NationalMap is one channel in which anyone can discover, explore and view that Foundation Spatial Data, as well as other types of location information, in order for them to work out what information they can use to make decisions. Why is GA involved? Threefold. We're custodian of much of that Foundation Spatial Data from a national context. Things like elevation, which is used within NationalMap in the terrain server. The base maps, we've generated all of them from our own data and also from other data such as OpenStreetMap, as well as some other specific data sets there as well. Through agreement with PMNC, and we've been working on this for quite some time, as has been mentioned, we're technical manager for NationalMap and for a lot of the associated platforms as well. In doing that, we host, test and release processes. What we also do is co-invest a lot of our own time and funds into developing and updating the data that goes into it. Finally, my particular area of GA is becoming more heavily involved with, I guess, spatially enabling other parts of government and showing how geospatial expertise and information can be used to help other parts of government do their business better and smarter. In this particular case, we've assisted other agencies in building their expertise around the development of web services. I've listed a couple of examples there. So it's a really cool project to be in, and it's actually helping GA get to where it needs to be in a broader sense as well. One big thing that GA was trying to get into, and this was an important catalyst for, was getting us into the cloud. This was a really important step for GA to realise its cloud enablement strategy, and it certainly resulted in a lot of upskilling in our ICT area about how to put things into the cloud. And also, to touch on one of the points that one of the previous speakers made, feeling comfortable about releasing things out of a quite tightly bound infrastructure into something that's not quite so tightly bound because it doesn't need to be. I touched on the web services development. This has really helped strengthen our capability in the development of this. It's moved it from being a ICT specialty into something that our data custodianship areas do as part of their workflows. What it's also done is it's improved the quality of the information that we can put out now as well, both in terms of content but also performance of those services. And finally, the big thing for me, having started GA now 16 years ago, which is making me feel really old, it's been an important catalyst again for transitioning GA's old school cartography into 21st century. They ought to take that step from being schooled in this is how you make a map, 1990s style, into this is how people consume, interpret maps, and why they need maps in the 21st century. So that's been really beneficial as well. Finally, it's opened up opportunities for us to engage with other government agencies. And you've seen Joe talk about AREMI already. There's another example which both Data 61 and ourselves were involved with quite recently for Northern Australia, with Austrade. That was something that had to be ramped up very, very quickly. There was an investment forum in Darwin a couple of weeks ago, and they wanted to see where particular parcels of land were best suited for investment. This was something that we needed for AREMI as well, so it gave us a good driver to at least get that information out. Warts and all, but it's out. So, opportunities. As you see, NationalMap is essentially a communication tool, and this has been one of the great successes of it. I think it's been able to open up information that probably wouldn't have been able to see before. The risk in that is that it is in danger of becoming a dumping ground. Anyone can put anything up, it's not organised, and then as a user, I have to spend significant amounts of time searching through everything to try and find what I want. What I would like to see is NationalMap have that seamless experience for a user. Zoom in, I'm after roads. I shouldn't have to search through, oh, is this GA roads, or is it someone else's roads, or is it state roads? That should be invisible to a user. So we think there's an opportunity here in looking at how we harmonise that organisation of the data and curate it in this particular context. We've already done it with the base maps. I mentioned before how we created it. We had our data, which we used. Because we wanted to keep this first pass of the base maps using open data, we went to OpenStreetMap. And when we demoed this to Drew Clark, he couldn't tell the difference. So that was kind of meeting that checklist of a seamless experience. Many of you will be familiar with GA as a rocks and dirt agency, which I'm really trying my best to get people away from, more than that. But what it's actually done is it's provided another view on potential opportunities in this particular space. One thing that Google Earth did not do, okay, it had a globe, but it doesn't do true 3D. A lot of the questions we are now trying to answer, things like modelling water flows, looking at the effects of coal seam gas extraction, require us to go underground and see how different parts of the environmental process all interact together. So it's something that other platforms do not do, that I've seen. Maybe they do somewhere else, but I haven't seen it yet. We're aware that there are other, approaches that do it, things like Earthside and Whirlwind, which GA has been playing with. But the demos I've seen in that space are still very much 1990s Microsoft executable file. It's not 21st century. But the concepts are actually more valid than ever before. So what this would require is making sure that the framework can handle 3D data, but it also means that the data itself would have to be truly 3D. The other opportunity I just wanted to point out here too was raising this question, is that does NationalMap and the data in it and the functionality meet user expectations? What NationalMap has been really good at doing is providing an opportunity to develop this open platform framework. And it's great to get up and demo things. That's been great, and it's been able to spin other things off like AREMI, Austrade, the NEII viewer, etc. What I've found since open data policy came into effect is I struggle to develop business cases to why I have to keep doing what I do, because I don't have the evidence to come back to the people who pay me and say, this is why I need to do it. Whereas in the old days, when you kind of had to control your data a bit more, you'd ask them, what are you using this for? Oh, I'm using it for that, great. I'll use that as part of my ongoing business case. I would love it if there was some way that NationalMap could actually understand where that data is going and who's using it. Because that gives me the business case to go back and fight for funding against the rocks and dirt people in GA, but also against ABS and Department of Environment and whoever else, as to why I need to keep doing what I need to do. What's next? What this has also done, as I said, is it's realised an improvement where I need to improve my data through exposing the issues. We also fit in open data, and I don't want to release it because it's got problems with it. There is a valid view in that, is that some data is created for specific purposes, and it can be used for purposes that it was never intended to be for, which can be good, but also it exposes the custodian to flack that maybe they didn't quite deserve in the first place, and I'll give an example of that. The other thing, and I've got another example of this too, is that there is other open data, open platform functionality around that I don't want us to lock out. Said TerraJS has been fantastic. We've got a globe and we can do all these great things with it. What we've struggled with in NationalMap is being able to do things like print to PDF. Yet I have another application based on open platforms, open layers, that can do it. Why not bringing this together? It's all open. So as an example, I don't know how well you can see that picture, but this is an example of data in NationalMap on the outskirts of Darwin. This was one big issue that sort of came up over the last few months around the use of GA's roads data. Derived from 250,000 mapping is only accurate to plus or minus 150 metres. That was all it was ever created for. We had 10 years to map the whole of Australia. There were some shortcuts we had to make. There were limitations with the imagery we were using. These days, that won't cut it because people can zoom straight in. Your data's rubbish. Well, no, it was actually created for a specific purpose. It's fine down to here. You need to cut something else in. But for most people, they don't understand that. They just want the seamless experience as well. This is the example of interactive maps. That's the big screen on the right. So this is our other platform that we have developed using open layers. I've been able to ingest the Cesium globe into that. Great reuse of resources. But what it can do is it can curate data and it can do things like print to PDF. What I don't want to have happen though, if I'm managing all of these things, I don't want to be managing 5,000 different platforms. The apps might be a bit of a different story, but it's still taking people and time and money away from other things that I need to do. So I just want to keep that open. Finally, I don't want to go too much into this slide, but this is a summary of our blueprint for where we're going to take the FSDF. As I said, what NationalMap does is it gives us another driver for knowing what demands for foundation spatial data there is. It will highlight, if I can get that feedback, on where I need to improve that data. So the two fit together quite nicely. So once again, I just don't want to consider NationalMap solely and in isolation. It fits in with all these other things as well, and that's what makes it really powerful and innovative. That's it from me. Thank you.
Thank you.